Jon Stewart returned to host The Daily Show for the first time in 9 years last night, and it was like chicken noodle soup for my news-rattled brain. And notably, in his first show back, he tackled one of the most debated issues that Americans have been talking about the past week.
One thing we know for certain is this. We have two candidates who are chronologically outside the norm of anyone who has run for the presidency in this country, in the history of this country. They are the oldest people ever to run for president, breaking by only 4 years the record that they set.
But for a number of reasons, people have been expressing concern that both Biden and Trump, though in the past week, mainly Biden, are too old to be president. Trump's 77, Biden's 81. By the end of their second terms, they'd be 82 and 86. And with that, an ABC Ipsos poll finding that 86% of Americans think that Biden's too old to run, whereas only 62% said the same about Trump. Which is interesting, not only because of the gap between the two candidates, but because both of those numbers are actually much higher than they were back in September. This is becoming a growing issue. But back in September, 74% saying Biden's too old and 49% saying Trump's too old. Though notably, there has been a lot more discussion over the past week because of the special counsel report. Because in that, even though there was evidence that Biden had willfully retained classified documents, it did not recommend charges. Though one of the reasons they threw in there is that he would most likely appear to a jury as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. With a report claiming it was observed that he had trouble recalling the years he served as vice president and didn't remember the exact date his son Beau had died. Which then resulted on Sunday, the president gathering reporters for a press conference to refute the accusations of mental decline, with many saying he started off strong, it was solid, he was leaving, and then he went back, and it was not a great look.
Many American people have been watching, and they have expressed concerns about your age.
That is your judgment. That is your judgment. The conduct of the response in the Gaza Strip has been over the top.
But he also confused the president of Egypt with the president of Mexico. And that following last week, where he confused two different German chancellors. And days before that, confusing two different French presidents. So with this, we've seen two different kinds of defenses of Biden. The first being these are just kind of occasional gaffes, saying that behind the scenes, he's actually mentally sharp, he's focused, he's always working. And then separately, though sometimes connected, you have people saying if this is disqualifying for Biden, then Trump's no better. Because the list of his gaffes and flubs and just outright kind of just insane things goes on and on. Whether it be, I don't know, what's most recent. He confused Nikki Haley with Nancy Pelosi. He praised Hungary's prime minister for his leadership of Turkey. He claimed he defeated Obama in the 2016 election. He warned that the country's on the verge of World War II. And among other things, last night, Stewart playing the that Trump magnets clip.
All I know about magnets is this. Give me a glass of water. Let me drop it on the magnets. That's the end of the magnets.
As well as deposition footage where Trump, who says he has a great memory, does not recall saying that. Right, so here's the thing. If everyone is seeing this, they're seeing the Biden stuff, they're seeing the Trump stuff, there is the very big question of, well, why do voters see the two men so differently? Well, with that, you have places like the New York Times saying it may be their different visual presentations. Writing Biden's voice has grown softer and raspier, his hair thinner and whiter. Trump, by contrast, often dyes his hair and is unnaturally tan. And while Biden often holds his upper body stiff, creating an impression of frailty, Trump uses his physicality to project strength and stamina in front of crowds. But also, speculation like this is kind of telling, because really all we have to go on is what we can see in public. And according to several memory experts who talked to the Washington Post, that actually doesn't tell us much, saying that the candidate's cognitive abilities, they can't be evaluated based on anecdotal memory lapses. With one saying many of us have memory slips all the time. We can't remember where we put our car keys, we can't remember dates or names, but we don't really notice the mistakes when we're young. It's when people get older that mistakes in memory seem to have more significance. And there, you have people noting neither Biden nor Trump are alone in their flubs. Some of my favorite random ones is like in 2012, Mitt Romney shared a memory of a jubilee in Detroit that actually took place before he was born. In 2008, Hillary Clinton told a story about being under sniper fire in Bosnia a decade earlier. Though later, she admitted she misremembered being told there was a potential threat of sniper fire, which is why I have experts adding that to really know whether someone's declining, you need to perform a formal evaluation. And as for Biden, we have a letter from his longtime doctor released by the White House nearly a year ago that described him as a healthy, vigorous 80-year-old male after a physical examination. But also, like when Ronnie Jackson was in the White House and he was glazing up Trump on those things, the people that want to believe those statements are going to believe those statements, and then everyone else is going to understandably be skeptical. Because again, we're talking about a situation involving two people where one is in his 80s, and if the other is elected, will be in his 80s during that term. And while specifically looking at Democrats, 73% say that Biden's too old to serve another term compared to only 35% of Republicans saying the same about Trump. Another perspective is that many left-leaning people have said that they will vote for a comatose Biden than an anything Trump. The guy who invited Russia to do whatever the hell they want to NATO members who don't pay up more. Who said, if there's alleged election fraud, which he's been alleging, it allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. But again, none of that dismisses the legitimacy of people concerned about age. And again, while it appears that there is a double double standard and hypocrisy at play regarding like only being worried about the mental faculties of one of the candidates, especially given everything we can see from both. It doesn't dismiss those concerns, and at the very least, thinking about the country moving forward, there should be age caps in place. You can call it ageist, but y'all, both candidates are older than the average US life expectancy. We're on the other end of the bell curve with these two fucking guys. But that's where I'm gonna leave it for now, because the stage is set and it's gonna play out how it plays out.